Hello, Alex. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, man. Nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you.
Thank you. And Alex, as you know, we are to talk about, your enrollment in Mastering Sales Influence and the coaching program. It's a 5-week program. And what I'd ideally like to do is for you just to share really what happened with you. So how this interview or conversation will go is I'll ask you certain questions and I just want you to respond to that. Okay. And as you know, as I said, Mastering Sales Influence is really a 5-week coaching program that helps you to learn how to become a master at influencing people so you can help them achieve what they want to achieve. Okay, it's never about you making the sale. It's really about you helping that person to make the decision that's right for them to do. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell us a little bit about yourself, like a bit of a brief background information. What did you do before you started selling high-ticket items? How did it go while you were trying to sell it? That kind of stuff.
So out of high school, I joined the military and I was in the Marine Corps. And as I was serving my contract, I just realized that I didn't really like having that structure. I thought initially that I would want to join the military for the structure, but I realized it wasn't really the environment that I wanted.
Okay.
And so I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And really the way that I got started with entrepreneurship was just Googling it and doing research and running into some different ads on Facebook that would sell me a few different courses. And I took several different courses on different topics, like starting a YouTube channel.
Okay.
At one point, I even tried to jerry-rig my own video game production studio.
All right.
And I was doing a whole bunch of projects and things to start my own business. I wasn't quite sure where I was going, but eventually I ran into the concept of being a salesperson or learning the art of influencing people, sales. And so I took a course on that, and the area that I was struggling there with was actually, it showed me the sales process, but I didn't know how to like start the conversations necessarily. I didn't know how to go out there and find people to sell stuff to, or even what to sell. So that was where I was really struggling with. And that's kind of where I was before MSI, was in that weird limbo of, I knew I wanted to master sales, but I wasn't quite sure just where to go exactly.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Let me tell you a little story that just happened the other day. Now that you mentioned you were in the Marines before, I got on this call with this one guy, and I had a greenish shirt on, like a military color green. Okay. And he said to me, he asked me, "Can I ask you something?" He said, "Did you wear that shirt on purpose because you know that I was in the military?" And I said, talking about influence, okay? And I said to him, "What, really?" I said, "Why would I do that?" He said, "No, maybe to like influence me." So I said, "Look, buddy," I said, "when I got out of the shower this morning and I got dressed, you weren't even on my mind, okay? So I looked through my cupboard and I decided this is a shirt I want to wear today, and that's why I put it on." So yes, people see strange things into influencing other people, okay? Like that guy thought, yeah, I wore a military colored shirt, that greenish color, to influence him during our conversation. So it's interesting to know about these things, okay? So tell me, before MSI happened, what was your results like?
Well, I was talking to a lot of different people, and I don't know if it was necessarily what I learned, but it was something that I kind of just adopted, was this idea that in order to be a salesperson, I have to wear a suit. I have to look really fancy. I have to have some sort of confidence or some like alter ego to my personality. And I had to go out there and I guess just appear successful on a surface level. And that would be the way that I could then get into sales. And somewhere along the line that developed into like an ego of sorts that I remember. Like I remember even I applied for a position. They wanted a video resume, and I made the resume, and then they replied back and they're like, "Hey, that's really great. Now you're in the next stage of the process.
Okay.
I need you to take one of like Tony Robbins's disc profile things."
Okay. Yeah.
And they wanted like a short autobiography of some of the other stuff that I've done in my past.
Okay.
And even though I moved on to the next process, I sent them an email back basically saying, I forget exactly what I said, but it was something to the effect of, "Oh, I don't need to worry about that because, you know, I can triple your sales or whatever." I shot the whole opportunity down the drain. And because all he did was respond back with, "I'm not interested anymore." So it was a lot of that, just trying to be more confident and more, almost I could say cocky than I really was.
Arrogant. Yeah. Instead of just coming across as who you really are, and because then you're authentic, you're genuine, and people buy that. Okay. And you know what? There's an old saying. Now that you mentioned that, there's an old saying goes something like this. Even when a monkey wears a golden ring, he stays a monkey. Okay. So it doesn't matter how nicely you dress up someone. Okay. It's really, it creates maybe a good first impression, but then, there's more involved than just that. And I mean, if we really look at like icons out there, Steve Jobs never wore a suit. Okay. And he was an extremely successful person. Okay, neither does people like Mark Zuckerberg. They don't run around in suits. Neither Bill Gates doesn't do it either. Richard Branson doesn't do it either. Okay, that's why be who you are, be authentic, because that's the attraction when you discuss and speak to people and when you have conversations with them, is that they can see that you're coming from a real place. Okay. I know many years ago when I sort of grew up in the business world, there was the saying that fake it until you make it. Now today, that's like a big no-no. Oh, you're not allowed to do that. And yet people do it every single day, okay? And they put their best foot forward. They put out the demo version, and when the real thing arrives, then it doesn't work actually like the demo version said it would. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, so can I gather from that what you were really saying to me is that, you had a certain persona that you adopted, and you had this certain arrogance, what you called cockiness, okay? And that really cost you maybe a position in a business where you could have made a difference.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thanks for sharing that. What motivated you to hire me as your coach? I mean, we got on this conversation, we got on a call similar to this, and we had this conversation, and you then decided, hey, I want to work with you. What motivated you?
So I don't know if you remember, but on the topic of cockiness and arrogance, well, you reached out to me, but I asked you, because you said you wanted to start a win-win relationship, and I asked you, what does that look like to you? And you just told me straight up, it's to see if and how I can help you achieve your goals, and then for you to earn a client and earn an income. And you were just completely honest about that. And I remember the approach that I took was like, oh yeah, I can definitely help you earn an income and get you more clients. Let's get on a phone call to talk about it. And it was again, coming from that place of like, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
Okay.
And I just remember that you turned it around over a text message. We weren't even talking yet. You just turned the conversation around back to me.
Okay.
And just the way that you did it, it showed me that it somehow showed me that the way that I was doing things was wrong.
Okay.
And I knew that if you could show me that through just like a few text messages, maybe there's something more here that I could learn, especially because I knew the value of having a one-on-one or small group sort of conversation. I knew the value of having like that coach who could actually interact with you. And that wasn't really something I had at that point. There's just a whole bunch of different, like either video courses or really large, like live talking to 500 people type of courses.
Okay.
And so I just felt like there was something more to learn there. And that's when I was like, okay, well, this guy clearly knows what's up.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll oblige him. I'll take him up on the call and see what he's all about.
Excellent. Thank you. That's a nice compliment. And you know what is amazing? I do remember our conversation. And I think what is amazing from it is that, you know, you use the words that, hey, I'm doing something wrong. Not necessarily. It's just that, you know, there are effective ways of doing something. And because if you're doing the best you can, it's not wrong. It's just what you know. Okay, once you learn something different, you can apply something different and get the better result. That's really what it's about. It's just to evaluate, hey, I'm doing this now and it's not working for me. So let me change direction slightly and do this. And if that works, perfect. And you keep on doing that. And so, yes, thanks. How long was the coaching for?
Well, so it was technically 5 weeks, but we had like, you had some sort of vacation in the middle. So it ended up being close to like 7 or 7.5 weeks. But 5 weeks of coaching.
I know certain people in a group went on some event that they had to go to, which was like about a week break or a couple of days break. And then we were away as well, like you said, you know, for a couple of days or a week or two. So yes, the time period was 7, but the coaching time was really the 5 weeks. Okay. So yes, the powerful question. What results did you get from the coaching? In other words, immediately, maybe during the first couple of sessions, and then during the rest of the coaching? What stands out?
Well, I think it was it was either during week 2 or week 3. I forget which one exactly, but I made my first sale as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And it wasn't just like a small sale. It was the first transaction I've ever had, and it was for a $2,000 a month deal.
Okay.
So $24,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I mean, we weren't even done with the coaching at that point. So that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm sold on this guy because all I need is a couple more of those and I'll be good.
That's it. Exactly.
So that's the immediate result that I had. Afterwards, I've had a lot of growth in just who I am as a person.
Okay.
And it almost goes beyond just the financial stuff. I mean, the financial benefits are really good because now I know if I want to make money, I know that I can just go out there and within a matter of a week or 2, I can start conversations and I can sell something. It doesn't even have to be my own services anymore.
That's right. That's right.
So having that control over my life is good financially, but I've noticed too, I think even more important than that is just how I communicate with my loved ones and the people who matter most to me. And I think the most profound results that I had was the fact that I pretty much saved someone's life who's very dear to me.
Okay.
Basically, she was experiencing like sexual harassment
Okay.
in her workplace.
Okay.
And she brought it up to me in a conversation, and quite literally, I was like a little taken aback, but then something came up in my head that was something that you said, which was the CRISP process, which is the process you teach. It's more than just a sales process. It's a way to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And so her battle was that she wasn't sure if she should report it, because she was afraid that if she did, there would be backlash at work. Maybe she would get put in a really bad position or something. And quite literally, I just followed her through the process.
Okay.
I wasn't even selling her anything, right? I was just exposing those dreams and going through the pain points and things like that. And there was more information that came out. It turns out that there was someone that she was working with even who was potentially talking about killing people at her work.
Okay.
And she was even at a point where she was thinking about overdosing on her medication.
Wow. Okay.
And so I just went through the whole process, and I remember I was just sitting there listening, and she was describing like what life would be like if this happened or if that would happen, and just those different things. And at the end of the conversation, I think it was over the weekend, but I remember at the end of the conversation, I asked her, like, so what is it that you want to do moving forward? And she told me, on Monday, I'm going to go in and I'm going to report it.
Okay.
And so she did. And the wonderful thing is, so they fixed the situation with that individual, but she got moved in her job to a position that she actually enjoys. It's something that she loves doing.
Okay.
And it's a new position. It's something that in that company, they've never had it done before. So because she got moved, she's now in this position to really pioneer it and get things done. And she's doing a phenomenal job. Like, her supervisors and like top leadership are taking notice to her now because she's in this environment to thrive. And now I talk to her and she's extremely happy and energetic. And she even mentions sometimes how, like, she's told me I basically saved her life just through that conversation.
Wow. Okay.
And I think it's through that, like, in terms of results, yeah, the opportunity to make money is great. But once I realized that was the power of what you teach and what you provide to people, I was like, I can't think of a better result other than that, and being able to make those kinds of changes to people's lives.
You're totally correct, because yes, money is just a means to do something. But when you help somebody change themselves, okay, you are really opening up the whole world for them. And that is extremely powerful. So I know it's obviously a very private conversation you're having with me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you remembered. Because if you didn't remember, the outcome could have been something totally different. Okay. And yes, you can never compare money with human potential or of a human being doing the things they love doing and achieving the things they want to do. Because money you can always make. I mean, let's be honest. If you're good at sales, you can always make money. You know, that's not so important. So thanks for sharing that with all of us. Because as you know, I'll put the video out for other people to watch. And I think what you shared here today is an extremely powerful benefit of doing MSI. So thanks for that. So tell me, let's be a little bit more lighthearted.
You're right.
What did you feel like when you made that $24,000 after trying for so long, having had no results, and like within a short space of time, you made $24,000? What did you feel like?
I kind of didn't believe it at first, and to be honest, because it was just funny how the conversation came about. I reached out to someone after I started your coaching program, and we had I had a conversation with that person, and they said no. They actually rejected me, but I shouldn't even say rejection. It was just a no. It wasn't a good fit.
Just a no.
Yeah, but so we parted ways, and then I come to find out that because of the conversation that we had, and the way that I presented myself and wanting to just connect to serve.
Okay.
She recommended someone to me.
Okay.
And so it was like a referral, but it was a referral of someone who I didn't even work with before. So it was interesting how that kind of started. And then, I had a conversation with this referral, and she fit into the situation that was perfect for what I could help with. And it was really just an easy conversation. In fact, it was funny because at the time I had sort of my own makeshift script that I was using, but I had a computer malfunction and I couldn't use the script. So I was kind of just going through the process as I remembered it. And we didn't even finish. We weren't even done coaching on the whole process. I think we only touched on the first 3 parts.
That's right.
So I stumbled through the last bit, and she interrupted me as I was talking because I was just doing sort of fragments of what you were teaching. I wasn't quite comfortable with the process, but she stopped me and she just asked me, okay, so when can we pay?
Wow. Okay.
Or how can I pay? I'm like, well, you can do PayPal if you like.
Put it in my bank. That's it.
Yeah. Cool. So it was just that whole process was a little bit unbelievable in how it turned out. But again, it just, I realized that's the power of just wanting to go out there and make those genuine connections with people really trying to make a difference in their lives versus just selling something. Right?
That's totally true. Totally true. Thank you for sharing that. Were you happy with your results that you were getting at that point in time with MSI?
Of course.
Very, very strong confirmation. That's great. Okay. Let's look at it. You finished the coaching around 2 and a little bit of months ago. I think around the 18th of December we finished. And so now it's the end of Feb. So it's about 2.5 months ago. What results have you had since then? Now, I know that we've already spoken about the financial side. We've spoken a little bit about other things. Okay. So tell me, either personally, professionally, or financially, okay, whichever one you feel has had a good impact in your life and that has actually made you more successful than what you've been. So whether it's personal, professional, financial, doesn't really matter. Share a little bit of that with us. What has happened since we finished?
Well, so another thing you talked about that really stuck out was that as you're always moving forward, I forget the exact words you used, but it was something to the effect of practice while you're doing. And so I've been slowly tweaking my own processes because I've been tracking things, as you said. And I think that's actually the biggest thing for me that was I started tracking my results and I started tracking my conversations. And I noticed through that I would get to a certain point of success and then I would self-sabotage myself down to where I was before. So for a little bit, I would say for the first January-ish, I was having a lot of struggle there. And I know that we had some conversations together. You allowed me to have a one-on-one conversation with you a few times to help get over that. And I've just noticed that as I've continued to work on it, and because I was tracking it,
Okay.
I was able to identify, okay, once I achieve this, this is where I fall off. So once I get to point A, I need to pay extra attention. I need to be extra careful to not get off track.
Okay.
And so just being aware of that has allowed me to continuously grow and improve myself rather. And I think the results, like in all of those areas, how that's happened is I'm now at a point where I can just go out and start conversations. And originally I was selling my own service, but I've realized that I kind of almost want to just focus on being in the sales sort of things. Like I want to be like a broker to people achieving what it is that they want.
Excellent.
So it's interesting because I've talked to enough people now to where there's so many different types of offers that I see people have. And depending on what it is, like I'll talk to someone, and if I think that they're right for this offer, then I'll like sell them that offer, and I can get a commission from that. And I'll sell them this other offer, and I can get a commission from that. So it's almost like just by having these genuine conversations and connections, I'm able to just be in total control of my life, really.
And actually offer people what they need at that point in time.
Right.
So the concept that you're using as being a broker is actually a very nice concept. So you're saying I have a set of products or services, and you speak to somebody and they say, hey, I like this one. And then you offer it to them. Like, or you see that there's a need for that, you offer it to them. They say, yeah, that's right for me. That's what I want. Cool. And if they want something different, then you can offer it to them. So that's actually a very nice concept. Okay. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, in terms of results, just realizing that I could just do that, that's phenomenal because, I mean, I can literally work from home in my office, and I don't have to go get a job anymore. I know that whatever situation that I'm in, if I want it to change, I now have the ability to just go out and do it. I can literally do it from my computer, or if I wanted to, I could go out there and do it in person. I mean, there's so many just opportunities that I think the biggest result is that there's so many choices as to where I can go. It's interesting to see just how many doors that are open and how I can truly just craft the life that I want. And it's not like other courses or other gurus where they talk about having your dream life and then they just say follow ABC process and then you'll live a life. Because what I found is through those types of courses, you're more often living someone else's dream, someone else's life.
That's right.
And so having the ability to literally just take what I've learned from this course and implement it into whatever aspect of my life that I want to implement it in the way that I want to. I think that's the biggest result and the biggest thing that I've noticed myself and how I kind of just approach everything now.
Excellent.
I can finally author my own book and my own story.
Exactly. And imagine just how powerful and authentic that will be. Because there will be lots of people out there that can relate to that. It's to your story, okay? And that means they will engage with you. And I think what you mentioned about, you really have now the ability to connect with people and take the best of the best that's available in the marketplace and offer that to them. So you don't have to sell a program because it's your own. Okay, you don't have to sell a program because it belongs to somebody else as a closer or a salesperson for them. You can take the best of the best and offer that to a client that really needs that. I think that's a nice concept to have. Says, hey, Mr. X, you're busy speaking to him. He says, I want to do this. And you say, okay, I have a solution for you. And you can talk to him about that. Okay. So you're not limiting yourself to one program, one concept, one idea. You're actually totally into that thing. I'm connecting with you to serve you, which is the C in CRISP, connect to serve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to see how I can help you achieve what you want in your life. So this concept that you've came up with and this idea that you've got is really great. Just follow it through on it, think it through. Okay, because I think it can really work very, very well for you. Okay, I think you've answered the next question as well, which really was, overall, what impact did MSI coaching have on your life, your business, your career, or relationships? If you feel you want to add something there, you feel free to do that. What was the overall impact of MSI on you?
I mean, yeah, I kind of just mentioned it. It's just that control, having the control over my life is the biggest impact. And I think that's the thing that I realize now, looking back at it, the reason why I didn't like the Marine Corps is because I didn't have the control, right? I was essentially being controlled by other people, which is not a bad thing. I obviously value the people in those situations. I understand it's a big sacrifice, but I just realized for me personally, I wanted to just have complete control over the reins, and I wanted nobody to have any impact on my life whatsoever. Like, if you're an employer, I don't want you to be able to control my income or my position or what I do for work or anything like that. And so just having that to literally just do whatever it is that I want and make a living out of it that's the overall impact.
Pretty good, yes. and what is nice is that with this control comes confidence. Okay, because as you speak, you can see the confidence. I can see the confidence. Okay, I can hear the confidence. I can hear the excitement in your voice. So although it's the control, it's what that control makes you feel and how you handle that control that really empowers you. Because, you can be in control, but you can still be insecure about it. But what I see here is that you're in control and you're confident about it and that you're enjoying it. Okay, so those are three really important things. So excellent. If you look 12 months down the road, so we're jumping now to February 2020, right into the future. What benefits will MSI, which is Mastering Sales Influence, what benefits will it still be giving you?
I mean, everything that I've mentioned. Like, literally that. I think there's a control over my life, but I think too, I'm gonna be able to build stronger relationships, stronger connections. Even with my partner, I can build stronger relations with them. Like, our relationship together it's in a completely different place now. Okay, and it's a lot, it's just a lot stronger, and there's a lot stronger of a connection there because I actually can listen to them and solve problems and communicate and lead in an effective way. And I noticed too, when I talk to just random people, I can build those connections. And like 12 months down the road, how that's going to turn out, I imagine that there's going to be some really powerful people who I'll come into contact with, and I'll have the ability and the confidence to figure out, what do you want in life? And by getting them what they want in life, I know that having that sort of connection there would be invaluable for whatever it is that I end up wanting to achieve at that point in time. Because I could just say like, hey, so it's 2020, I have this new goal in life that I want to pursue. Do you have any resources or know anyone who can help me with that? And
Excellent. Okay.
I know at that point, being able to foster those relationships, it'll almost be effortless at that point to do whatever it is that I want to achieve a year down the road.
I'm going to ask you a question just off the cuff. It's not one that I wrote down or anything like that.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself 12 months from today? What will your life look like? What's the dream?
Well, so what I'm looking at 12 months down the road is I have this vision for like a full service sort of, not just necessarily like a marketing agency, but a business where I can handle everything from, lead generation to handling sales for different coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, business leaders, things like that.
Excellent.
And I see that as something that I want to go into, because eventually I want to be able to expand that even further into really just, I don't even know how to explain it, but just something where it shows that business and making money isn't as complicated as people want to make it out to. Just a business that just, it shows you, if you want to go make money, if you want to live a wonderful life, like these are just the things that you need to do.
That's right.
And provide, the essentials to people as a service so that they can go out there and, be it life coaching or health coaching or whatever, they're going to be able to live the lives that they want.
That's
and at that point, I hear people, they're going to be talking about me in a positive manner, and they're going to be saying like, oh, that's like, you've been able to change my life in a profound way. You've been able to get me all these things. And
excellent. Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell myself at that point, right, that I'm actually making a huge impact on the world.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of goes back to why I joined the Marine Corps, was to make an impact on the world. But I think being able to literally see the positive energy from thousands of people, hundreds of people, whatever it is at that point, that'll really put me in a new light, and that'll make me feel extremely happy and extremely just worthy of, I guess, just worthy.
That's it.
Really.
Yeah. And it sounds like fulfilled. Like, hey, I'm providing a really good service to people out there. I'm helping people. And if you're that kind of person that comes from that place, then it's excellent, because then the financial side will always follow. Okay. So that's excellent. So let me conclude our conversation. Wow, what a word. Let me finish our conversation and ask you a closing question. Do you know what it'll be?
No, I don't.
Do you need help with that? You don't need to answer. Okay. I just thought we'll be a little bit lighthearted at the end of our conversation.
Okay.
Because a lot of people sit there and, if it's a sales conversation, they don't really necessarily know how to end it. They come up with all these very slick and sometimes sleazy, closing techniques. And I think you've realized that none of that's necessary when you do MSI.
Yeah,
And
true.
you don't have to do like, can I help you with that or whatever it is. Okay, so yeah. Alex, anything you want to add? Anything you want to say, anything you want to add? Even if you want to ask something, feel free to do that.
Well, I don't have a question, but I would say, because I know that people are going to be watching this, so assuming you are watching this and you're on the fence, if you haven't talked with someone about it, I would highly advise it, because it's a wonderful experience. And I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people now, sorry. And truthfully, yes, there's a lot of people who talk about wanting to serve and connect with others, but I don't see it as a common trait in a lot of people, which is at least not to the level that Andre teaches it from my personal experience, which isn't a horrible thing, but it's when you actually experience it, it's such a refreshing sort of feeling. And I never would have thought that sales could be done the way that Andre does it, because it is like you said. I always thought it was like a game or a challenge, or what can I say here to get them to react this certain way. And I always looked at it as just like a game to play. But I think now that I look at it from a different perspective of truly just trying to connect with people, it feels so much more amazing. And I would, if you haven't experienced anything like that, I would just highly advise it, because at the very least, it can just change your perspective on how the world works and how people can communicate with each other. And especially too, if you have any areas in your life, not even financially, that you would like to consider. Maybe you have clients and you just can't communicate with them the way that you want to, or maybe you have relationship or personal struggles. Like MSI, it's a sales course, but all of those things impact. But the things that Andre teaches is they impact all areas of our lives. And even though it's a sales course, you can still take those techniques and implement it into all those different areas and get phenomenal results. So I would definitely consider looking at it as more of a communication and leadership course than anything, because that's really what it boils down to. And maybe if you are on the fence, looking at it from that point of view might shed a new perspective on it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yes, MSI is really about communicating, leading, influencing, persuading, and partnering with people to help them achieve the success that they want. And that's really, in a nutshell, what it's all about. And you're right. You've experienced it yourself. It impacts all areas of your life positively. Okay. Some things don't, that MSI impacts it positively. Creates real change for you at many, many different levels. And that's excellent. Alex, thank you so much. Thanks for chatting with me. Thanks for taking the time out and sharing the information you did. I'm sure that the people who watch this are going to be blown away because what you've shared with us is extremely powerful. And I am really, really grateful for that. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.